Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Happy new month. So this video is trending everywhere on X or Twitter and TikTok as well. It's got a lot of people talking. Okay, now let's watch the video.
Okay, I haven't been on TikTok for a bit, and I noticed everyone was tagging me in that whole Andrew Schultz thing about black women. I'll make a different comment about Andrew Schultz and that little rat Akash thing, but I want to say something about black women. And this was my mother, and I God is my witness right now. May the Lord strike me down if I'm lying. My mother told me and my siblings when we were young kids, before I remember it was when my older brother started secondary school. It was a big deal, my older brother going off to the big boy school, and my mum sat us down and she said, if you're ever in trouble out there in the real world, look for a black woman. My mum said this. My mum was raised in this country from the age of 6, the UK. She said, look for a black woman. She said, anywhere in the world, a black woman will help you. She was never wrong. But it's incredible that my mother said that, and I don't know what my mum went through. But I remember seeing photos of my mum in school when she was in high school and stuff, and she had loads of black friends and stuff, and they were all black women. Because my mum wasn't a pick-me, she only had female friends. And so she obviously felt some protection. And growing up for me, I noticed in my school, it was a very predominantly white school. The black teachers looked out for me. I had a black Jamaican teacher called Mrs. Forrester. She looked out for me. But even outside of school, when I started growing out my hair, it was a black woman that taught me how to look after my curls, what products to use. It's black women that built me up on this platform and got me to where I am. I have to give credit to where credit is due.
I didn't play the rest of the video because it's long, and he went on to talk about when he was homeless, his friend, I believe he's black, family maybe accommodated him or something like that, and how he loves that about black people and how black people supported, I don't know if he's Indian, but they supported them. He's from the UK, right? When they were going through their stuff and all of that, and they stood with them and stood by them, and so on and so forth. So he couldn't just sit by and watch all this go on without saying anything. And that was where he was coming from. However, when this was posted, a lot of people had a lot to say. Now, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to give my thought. I'm not going to say anything about this, right? Because I want to know what you ladies think about this. Some time ago, there was this very viral video of this white lady telling her daughter that if she was ever lost or something, she should find a black man. I don't know if you ladies remember that. That was also very viral. But I want to know, do you think this is a compliment? Let me know your thoughts about all of this, and let's get into some of the responses, because I found it very interesting, right? Let's get into some of the responses, and I'm going to come back and talk some more. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
This is so true. It is so true. And I can only speak from my personal experience. I am one of those black women that will see someone and be like, baby, you okay? I don't care how old you are. From a little one to an adult one, I'm going to be like, baby, you all right? You need something? And granted, I do get pooped on quite a bit for being too nice, too friendly, oversharing, going and putting my nose where it don't belong. But there's a thin line between being nosy and being helpful. And trust and believe your mom told you right. If ever you need help, not all of us are the same, but most of us will be there. And yes, with that beautiful smile and all of that love our ancestors have poured into us deeply, and all of us don't hold all that negativity, baby, but you are loved. I'll see y'all. Bye.
I saw a man do a video on the app this week, or maybe last week, I guess, and he was just saying that, I believe he was Indian, and he was saying that from a little child that his mother told him, wherever you are in the world, if you ever need help, look for a black woman, because a black woman will always help you. And I understood definitely the sentiment in his video, and he was just really just, basically just saying how loving and beautiful and amazing black women are and how good our hearts are, etc. And that's great. And I think we already know this, though, about ourselves for sure. But I would like for people to start thinking, instead of if you're ever needing help to find a black woman will always help you. Let's start reversing that. If you're looking to give help, or you're looking to do some spoiling, or you're looking to make someone not work as hard, go look for a black woman and give her that. Because we're good. We're good. I'm telling you, I will keep saying it, black women need to rest. No, don't look for me, baby. Only people that need to be looking for me if they need help are my children. Now, obviously, if I saw someone and they desperately needed help, like any human being, I wouldn't leave somebody, like probably bleeding in the street. But I don't know, I might too, because those documentaries, it could be, a way to lure me in. So I may not actually. So, but anyway, that's just a side note. But let's get rid of this narrative. We're not your mammies. We're not your maids. We're not any of that for you anymore. And like I said, I'm sure that guy had the best intentions. So this is not directed at him in a malicious way. I'm just saying, overall, let's get rid of this. You'll need to let it go. Stop seeing black women as labor. Stop seeing black women as your shoulder to cry on. Stop seeing black women as the people to pick you up when you're down. Leave us alone. Unless you come in to, pay for a spa day, or, to actually be a good man and be a husband who provides and protects, and be a father who stays in your children's lives, or, you're not coming to spoil us or take us on a trip somewhere, or pay for somebody's, undergraduate school or whatever, buy a car. Honestly, I'd rather you'll not. Don't look for us anymore. We're good. We're all tapped out. We're good. We're so good. We are resting. We're resting. I want to see more black women spoiled. If you're looking for someone to spoil, go find a black woman. That's what I want the thing to be now. You tell your children, hey, if you ever are looking to spoil one human on this earth, you go find a black woman, because I guarantee you, she deserves to be spoiled. She needs to be spoiled, and she is more than worthy to be spoiled. Other than that, yeah, don't actually look for me. Don't look for us, especially if you need help. I don't like that. We're done. Anyway, love you so much. Stay soft.
While I talk about the whole dumpster fire that's going on X and TikTok as it pertains to the creator who made the whole Dear Black Women complimentary video, also he thought. So if you don't know, I'll catch you up super quickly. Basically, a creator on this app, an Indian man who I've seen before, and to be honest, his content is more enlightened than the average guy, I would say. He talks about sexism, misogyny, and a lot of things, and he seemed to make a lot of sense until his latest video, which is titled Dear Black Women. And I think I understand his intention. That he was basically saying his mum told him a lesson, and it was, anywhere in the world, if you are ever in trouble, or quote unquote, I think he did say in danger or something, you should look for a black woman, because a black woman will always help you. Black women are good at helping women and children, all these things. And it was meant as a really big compliment, and a lot of black women took it that way. That's very important. Point number one, a lot of black women actually took it as a compliment and thanked him and said, wow, yeah, almost like, thank you for seeing our humanity, or something like that. So Twitter was not impressed, as it always isn't. A lot of people have had various reactions. I might put some on the screen, but the main reaction is it perpetuates the mammy trope. And if you know what that is, if you know, you know. If you don't, look it up. I'm not going to make this a history lesson this morning, because I want to cover everything in the time that I have. So it perpetuates the mammy trope, and this idea that black women specifically only, I would say, are only valuable, or should be, appreciated if they're of service, and if they're helping someone, like servitude. And this is where I think a person can be so well-meaning, like the guy who made the video, but just because you're well-meaning doesn't mean you can't still perpetuate stereotypes. I think he was very well-meaning, but I don't think he thought about this stereotype that he would be perpetuating, saying, if you're anywhere in the world and you need help, look for a black woman. So this is the first thing that struck me, and a creator that I really like called Soft Wife Life. I might tag her, because I wanted to stitch, but her stitches are off. She basically said it's not a compliment, because I bet you, the mum of this guy didn't also tell him the lesson of, if you're anywhere in the world, look for a black woman to spoil, look for a black woman to ease her burden. Did the mum tell him that lesson? Did the mum say that? So therein lies the problematic nature, and I want to go over some stuff I've seen through X as well. So I thought this was really interesting. Someone was agreeing, and they said, oh, a man wants to show us love and appreciation. What's the problem? And then the person who disagreed said this, very rightfully so: if love and protection is what labor and protection you offer as a black woman, and you like that, enjoy it. The rest of us have every right to rebuke it. So I think this person is trying to say, Black women aren't just valuable to protect and to love and to be seeked out for help. And I think that this is where the original creator kind of missed the point, and this was his blind spot. And apparently he's already uploaded a follow-up video. I haven't watched it, so I don't know. But yeah, this is the main thing, and this is the blind spot. Someone said Black women need protection and support and not empty flattery, and I think something about validation. And yes, another person rightly pointed out, does he have videos reciprocating the love he received, like the love that he received in question? Has he helped women that look like the women he is seeking help from, essentially? Overall, like, this conversation is really interesting in terms of, like, the idea that just because you mean well doesn't mean you'll miss out very, I would say, obvious stereotypes and tropes in your messaging. And another really important thing to point out is if you aren't a woman of color, Black woman, I would not recommend this mode of thinking because, like, for example, just because you see a Black woman doesn't mean she wants to help you. That's another thing to be very aware of. But I want to know what people think. I think I basically covered everything I want to cover.
Recently, a South Asian man from the UK came on here and he said that his mom told him that anywhere he's in the world, if he needs help, find a Black woman. And there are hundreds of women who took it as a compliment, rightfully so, because that's their right. And they're being called mammies and whatnot by another demographic of Black women. And while that is their right not to feel that it's a compliment because of their lived experience and their relationship with their Blackness and how they exist within their society, I'm not here to undermine that. But I'm here to speak to the women who are being called mammies. You're not wrong for taking it as a compliment because not all of us have the same lived experience. Not all of us grew up in oppressive societies. Not all of us see helping as a burden, right? I can speak for myself. Growing up in the Caribbean, growing up as a Dominican woman, there's never been a time where my kindness was gendered, where kindness is gendered, where help is gendered. The men help just as much as the women. There's not this overwhelming burden on the women to be good people. You know, I've never not felt supported by the men in my society. I've never not felt protected by the men in my society. I can depend on the protection of the men in my society. There are many times where I've seen certain things happen. I'm like, West Indian men would never just stand by and let this happen. Those of us who did not grow up in individualistic societies, we don't see help as a burden. We don't keep a tally. We don't see it as something transactional because it's not just us doing it. It's the society doing it. So I help you, you help me. It's just part of being a good neighbor. It's part of being a good person. And we are allowed to have that attitude towards helping because 9 times out of 10, when we look around, we're helped every single day. You know, like I grew up in a community where if you don't have food today, you can tell your neighbor and they'll give you food until your paycheck comes. Or if you can't get to work because you're low on cash, you can talk to the bus driver and be like, okay, at the end of the month, I'll pay you back. And they'll drop you to work every week. Or you can go to somebody and be like, hey, I'm low on cash. Can I catch a ride with you this week? And they'll bring you to work every day. Like we're not deprived of support. So therefore, the idea of depriving other people of support is kind of weird to us. So you don't have to feel bad because you took what he said as a compliment. Okay, the women who aren't taking it as a compliment is because there's imbalance in their lived experience, not through any fault of their own, just because they live in an oppressive society. They have not been helped. They have not been supported. They have not been given what we have. So therefore, they can't take these things as a compliment the way that we do. So while I will not discredit their experience because it's very real and it's very hard to watch and I wish they had a different reality, but we shouldn't be made to feel bad because of ours and our responses because we're able to hear these words differently. So it's hitting our spirit differently. I'm not saying that there aren't any, issues and nuances within our society, but as a whole, historically, we don't exist in a space where we are not also given help and support. To my sisters who saw that as a compliment, hats off to you. Don't feel bad. Being kind feels good to me. Being unkind makes me sick because it's not me. And nobody and nothing, not history, not anything will cause me to not be me. And don't let anybody bully you into thinking it's cool to be unkind when that's what you want to be.
It's not that I'm upset with Mustafa's mother for making the observation that she made about Black women and how protective they are, because it's an observation that she's made probably throughout her life, that she felt so comfortable entrusting the safety of her children in the hands of unknown Black women more than anybody else. And that alone represents a positive recognition, a wonderful one even, because a mother, the biggest protector of her child, is willing to entrust his safety, their safety, in the hands of Black women, strangers, more than anyone else. And that's wonderful. And this recognition could have came from perhaps her observation of Black women as being more motherly, more caring, more sensitive or sensible, even more protective, more defensive, more nurturing. All traits that we could actually attach to a mom. And I'm not going to take this to the racial stereotypes of black women being mammies and none of that stuff. What I am going to say is, when you think about a mom or your mother, it is most likely you're thinking about how she has been to you. When you see mothers in cartoon or in media and how they're taking care of their loved ones, especially their children, you think about how good of moms they are, how kind and nurturing and how protective and defensive they are. And there's a sense of gratitude that come with having this kind of resource, this mother, a resource that we can take and take and take from, but we never really sit down to think about who's giving her. If mom is always there to take care of me, who takes care of mom when she's sick? If mom is always giving to me, who gives her when she needs? And it brings me to those trending videos of Mexican mothers reunited with their own mothers after 20, 30 years of not seeing each other, and how these 40, 50-year-old women would turn back into 10-year-olds. They would come and crawl in their mother's arms because it is their mothers that could take them back to that state of youthfulness, a nurturing state full of security, unlike what anybody else could give them. And now let's take it back to Mustafa. His mother's observation is not an unpopular one, as it is said by many people. Many people from all ethnic and racial backgrounds believe in that a black woman is the most likely to be honest and kind and nurturing to your kids, that a black woman is also a fortitude with a security blanket and she's willing to defend you because she knows what it's like to not be defended, especially when you need help. But even with all of this understanding, we can understand that society has never recognized these things to be true about black women, because society's treatment of black women is quite different from who we believe they are with that understanding. If black women are the kindest, nicest people, why are we not nice to them? If black women are considered caretakers, why don't we take care of them? If black women are securities and defenders, why don't we defend them? For centuries, we've allowed the worst kind of media and understanding about black women to exist and prevail above all else in social media and all sorts of other media, actually. In many of these cultures, bringing a black woman home is actually a big issue. While seemingly talking about black women having a heart of gold and being nurturing and wonderful and nice and caretaking, we seem to describe them as bitter, ugly, and ruthless most of the time we talk about them. And I know I'm a black woman, but I'm talking from society's standpoint. As a society, we are extremely mean to black women. As individuals, we can be extremely mean and inconsiderate to black women. We don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And yet, despite all of that, many people share Mustafa's mother's belief. And that's not fair. So it's not that I disagree with what his mother said, because it is true. And when I have my little one, I will tell them the same thing. But it's not all too positive of a recognition when you understand that we're being used. It's quite almost a parasitic relationship. Because for a lot of black women, most, if not all of the care that they provide to the world is not sent back to them. It's never reciprocated. And because black women know that, most black women know that and understand that, they turn to each other for comfort. They turn into each other for support. And while sisterhood is great, it's wonderful, it's blissful even, one of the principles of this sisterhood exists on the isolation that society has rendered us in. And I think that's why you'll see so many black women make angry videos, how they're no longer supporting this kind of stereotype. They're protecting their peace because they're drained.
Yeah, so I do agree with all that they're saying, and it makes a lot of sense to me, because initially I wasn't going to talk about this at all. I wasn't going to make a video about this. When I first saw his video, I just scrolled past it until I started seeing the reactions from other people. And there's this other lady that I found. Her video is super long, so I couldn't add it, but I'll try and look for her and link her video in the comment section. It's a compliment, but at the same time, it's reinforcing something that we've already known, right? Because find me for what? For work. Find me to protect you. Don't you think I need protection myself? All right. Yes, and I'll do it. I'm not saying that if I was walking and I saw someone in need or someone needing help or needing me to point them in the right direction and I could do it, I wouldn't do it. I would do it. But then at the same time, it's like black women need protection. Black women need to be cared for. Black women need to be loved. Black women need to be taken care of. Like, is there any person in the world that you can also point to and say, hey, black women, if you were ever in need, or if you are ever struggling, this is the person you can go to? I never hear that, all right? So if there's something like that, I'd like to hear more about that. I remember a quote from the movie For Colored Girls, and it says, let her be born and handled warmly. And that stayed with me for a very long time. Yes, let black women be handled warmly. Let us be taken care of. Let us also experience kindness and love and just rest, all right? Not every day we taking care of other people. Yes, if you find a black woman anywhere in the world, she's going to take care of you. But at the same time, can we rest too? can we rest in our femininity and be taken care of? Yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Leave your thought and opinions about all of this in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again with another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye.